Hello everybody, it's Chris the Spyder Minimalist. I recently crossed the 2,000 mile mark, and while that doesn't mean a whole lot, early on in my Spyder and YouTube channel tenure, someone had posted a question: can you please do a video contrasting the difference between riding a two-wheel motorcycle and a three-wheel motorcycle? And at that point, after years and years of riding a two-wheel motorcycle and only a few hundred miles of riding the Spyder, I didn't think I could do an accurate comparison. Now, 2,000 miles is not a lot of miles, but I feel a little more comfortable pointing out some things that for those of you that ride a Spyder and a two-wheel motorcycle it'll be obvious to you, but for some of you this might be informative. So there are both pros and cons to the motorcycle and the two-wheel motorcycle and the three-wheel motorcycle, the Spyder. So I'm going to start out, and this is in no particular order. I've got them written down because I never remember them. I'm going to start out with the advantages that go to the two-wheel motorcycle, and then I'll finish up with the advantages for the Spyder. The first one is acceleration. The two-wheel motorcycle is just much more quicker off the line, and probably at the top end as well. Now, the reason for that is the power to weight ratio. And let me give you a concrete example. So before I bought this Can-Am Spyder, I had a KTM 890 Adventure, which is a great adventure motorcycle. It had an 890cc engine that yielded 105 horsepower. This Spyder, this motorcycle, has a 1330cc engine, a triple cylinder, that yields 115 horsepower. So this has 115, the KTM had 105. Advantage goes to the Spyder, right? Well, the problem is the Spyder weighs 1,000 pounds. That KTM weighed 500 pounds. That power to weight ratio was just an insurmountable obstacle for the Spyder when it comes to acceleration, and you can feel it. I mean, you can feel it immediately as soon as you start riding these. If you're coming off a fairly powerful motorcycle, the difference is it's noticeable. Now, I was never a speed demon, but I brought my motorcycles up to pretty high speeds, triple-digit speeds, when I knew that I was in a zone where I could do that and get away with it. Now, I know the Spyder, I believe the Spyder has a top speed of over 100 miles an hour, but I wouldn't want to be on this vehicle at 100 miles per hour, at least not right now. Maybe when I'm more experienced on it. But so, the first advantage for the two-wheel motorcycle is acceleration. The next and most obvious difference, and it is an advantage, is the narrowness of the motorcycle, the two wheels compared to the three. Now, the Can-Am Spyder is only 10 inches narrower than the last car I had, the Hyundai Kona. It's essentially a compact car when it comes to stature and size. What does that mean? That means there are times when, well, let's say right now I wanted to pull over on the shoulder of the road. I would be jutted out onto the road because that shoulder is very narrow. I could pull over, you could pull over on any motorcycle, and you'd be close to the road, but you would be on the shoulder and not crossing that white line. If you're in a parking lot and there are two cars that have overstepped their boundaries, you've seen this, you're at a shopping mall or a grocery store or whatever, and there are two cars that are both over their boundaries, and you can't park in that spot with a car because it's just too narrow. With a two-wheel motorcycle, you can easily do that. And another difference related to the narrowness of the motorcycle is some states, California is one of them, lane filtering or lane splitting, driving between the two lanes of cars, is legal. And they do that as a traffic measure to relieve congestion. You cannot lane split on a Can-Am Spyder. I would highly not recommend it, because that would bring about a very bad day. Also related to the fact that it's narrower is a two-wheel motorcycle is much more maneuverable. You can just it's much more nimble. The KTM had 8 off-road capabilities. Obviously, you can't take the Spyder truly off-road. But even on the road in some knotty situations, whether it's wending your way through traffic or whatever, the two-wheel motorcycle was just more maneuverable. And related to that, the two-wheel motorcycle was much lighter. As I said, my KTM, and my guess is most motorcycles in that class are about 500 pounds. This is 1,000 pounds. Now, you guys who ride Harleys, I know some Harleys are apparently like almost as heavy as the Spyder. It's hard to imagine that, but there's a lot of iron there. And so I guess, you know, I've heard that there are two-wheel Harleys that are like 900 pounds. To me, that's unfathomable, but oh well. And with that lightness comes a big difference. And this one hits your pocketbook, and that is MPG. My KTM got about 50 miles to the gallon. This thing gets about 30 miles to the gallon. Quite frankly, most motorcycles I've ever had got about 50 miles to the gallon. And before that KTM, all of my motorcycles took regular unleaded, and this motorcycle along with that KTM took premium. Now, it wasn't bad, I didn't know it at the time, it wasn't bad putting in premium when you got 50 miles to the gallon. Now I get 30 miles to the gallon, and the irony is my car, the Hyundai Kona, got pretty close to that from an average, but I could put in 87 octane. So the cost benefit from a gasoline standpoint between this vehicle and my last car probably ends up going to the car. Boy, this guy is really a Sunday driver. So in terms of the obvious advantages for the two-wheel motorcycle, those are the ones that first come to mind after 2,000 miles on the Spyder. So does the Spyder have advantages? Well, I'm riding the Spyder, so there's obviously advantages, and lots of them. First of all, and this is obvious, stability. The Spyder in any three-wheeler is going to have an obvious advantage because you're sitting on a tripod, right? But the advantage for the Spyder is not only are you sitting on three wheels, but the three wheels are car-like. The tires are car-like. They're flat, as opposed to rounded like a motorcycle's tires. What does that mean? Well, that means way more stability. And going back to that weight disadvantage when it came to acceleration and MPG, when it comes to stability, that weight is helpful. And let me give you an example. So I ride over the Grand Island bridges often. You see that in some of my videos. I can remember riding over those bridges on a two-wheel motorcycle and being terrified when the winds were above, let's say, 35 miles per hour. It was terrifying. But on a Can-Am Spyder, it's just smooth sailing. So the stability on this thing is just incredible. And related to that, when you're not even riding the thing, but when you're stopped, let's say you're parking on a hill. You're in a hilly town or something, and you have to park. On a two-wheel motorcycle, that can be really knotty. You have to be very careful. With the Can-Am Spyder, it's much, much easier. The other thing is, let's say you want to park on sand or on grass with a two-wheel motorcycle. Well, you can do that, but if you're not careful, when you put the side stand down, if it sinks in a little bit, it could sink into the point where it reaches the point of no return and your bike falls. This is not going to fall when I park it, ever. Now, this one might get me in a little trouble with some of you, but to me, especially compared to my last motorcycle, the Can-Am Spyder is infinitely more comfortable. That KTM, it was actually famous for its hard seats. In fact, I had a 2022. In 23, they revised the model year. KTM does that a lot. And they apparently introduced a softer seat because they knew it was so hard. I have an RT Limited, and this seat is incredibly comfortable. Now, I know the Sea to Sky has an even better seat. I can't even imagine what that means, an even better seat than this seat, because this one is so comfortable. But apparently the Sea to Sky is better. But this is a much more comfortable bike. It's comfortable not just because of the seat, but these floorboards are miraculous. I mean, I can remember riding the motorcycle, you know, my feet were fixed on the foot pegs. And sure, you could do this with your feet, but I mean, like, eventually they've got to come back on the pegs, right? Whereas with the floorboards, I can move my feet, and they've got a lot of movement because these floorboards are 23 inches, which is awesome. So that's another comfort advantage. The other thing is, whether it's riding in cold weather, in terms of comfort, whether it's riding in cold weather, rainy weather, maybe snowy weather. If you've watched enough of my videos, you know I went out in a couple of light snowy days. But the fairing, so the windshield is down to its lowest setting. I'm going to put it up to its highest setting just for the purposes of this demonstration. This fairing, not just the windshield, but all of this substantial stuff in front of me, this that's going to block my feet, that adds to your comfort level in a major way. The other thing that the advantage goes to the Spyder, and quite frankly any Can-Am, because while the RT Limited has a lot of storage built into it that's standard, whether you have a Riker or any kind of Spyder, the F3 or whatever, or even a base RT, there are plenty of accessories that you can add on to this. Now, my KTM, I had a big, huge top case, I had 2 big saddlebags, but you can strap on way more equipment onto the Can-Am Spyder or 3-wheel Can-Am than any 2-wheel motorcycle. At least that's my opinion. So when it comes to storage capabilities, advantage Can-Am. And remember, this thing replaced not just my KTM, but also my car. So storage was a meaningful thing for me. Going back to the 3 wheels, there's one disadvantage for the Spyder that I want to mention, and that is the rear wheel is really difficult to manage. It's difficult to check the tire pressure. It's difficult to put tire air in the tire. Now, it's not like impossible. I've done it. I've done a video on it, but it is very difficult to do. And quite frankly, I'll bet a lot of us are not, I know I'm guilty of this, are not checking our tire pressure as often as we probably should because of that. And so I know I've posted on another video, it'd be great if Can-Am were to put a tire pressure monitoring system on the dash, not the ones that you screw on to the stem valve caps, but a true internal systemic tire pressure monitoring system. It's really needed, but that's a big disadvantage for the Can-Am Spyder. Now, I thought it was difficult checking the tire pressure on my KTM because those of you who have 2-wheel motorcycles know the modern motorcycles with the disc brakes, it makes it difficult to get to the stem valve, but the rear tire on the Can-Am Spyder takes that difficulty to a whole new level. However, when you consider all of the things I just said, and adding in some other things like fun factor, I will tell you, I am having more fun. I realize it's new to me, but I'm having more fun on this Can-Am Spyder than I ever imagined. To me, the advantage goes to the Can-Am Spyder. If you're on the fence about moving from a 2-wheel motorcycle to a 3-wheel motorcycle with the Can-Am Spyder in particular, I will tell you, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Now, everybody's different, and I hate to really push people to make the change, because then if you do it and if for your personal taste it's just not for you, then I'm going to feel guilty about that. I will tell you there are some, concerns about the Spyder. I've mentioned them on other videos. So there's a reliability concern, and if you're coming from a 2-wheel motorcycle, it's one of the big 4 Japanese brands where reliability is just, they've got it honed. They've got bulletproof engines and really incredible engineering into their systems. This has some issues, and we've talked about them, and other vloggers have talked about them as well. It's a pricey vehicle. The Can-Am Spyders are very pricey. The Rikers are lesser in price, but they're lesser in capability as well. So I'm not pushing the Can-Am Spyder. I'm not urging anyone to ditch their 2-wheel motorcycle as I did. I'm certainly not advising anyone to ditch their car as I did. I am a minimalist. This is a big test for me, and it's beautiful when it's May and the sun is out and it's 75 degrees as it is today. But the question's going to be, what am I going to do when it's January, it's 20 degrees, it's snowing out, and I need to go to the grocery store? I'll be posting videos about those situations as well. But anyway, I just wanted to give you my initial impressions after 2,000 miles on the Can-Am Spyder, the differences between the 2 wheels and the 3 wheels. Folks, listen, I really appreciate you watching my videos, sticking around for as long as you did. I really appreciate when you subscribe to my channel. The channel's growing beyond my expectations, and that's thanks to you. So thanks again, and you have a great day. Bye-bye.